Jeremy, hi, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Excited.
I'm excited to hear and to tell your story, an amazing story. One of the stories that should inspire many people who are going through the 9 to 5 routine to take maybe a leap of faith in one or the other direction. But let's start with the beginning. What's your current location, Jeremy?
So I'm currently in Serbia, in the north of the country, near the Hungarian border. I am nomad, so I move around a lot. We had a quick intro a few weeks ago, and I was in Germany, and now I'm in Serbia. Yeah, so I move around quite a lot.
That makes life more interesting. Okay, then shortly with the beginning, please tell us where did you grow up, Jeremy?
Yeah, so born and raised in France. I grew up in a very small town in the south of France, near Perpignan. And when I say small town, it's like 1,500 people. So yeah, small village, close to the Spanish border in the south, like an hour away from Barcelona, on the coast. And yeah, I spent the first like 18 years of my life there. Before going to uni a couple of hours away, not too far. I didn't go so far. But it was very interesting growing up in a small town. Nothing in my childhood would have predicted the life that I'm living today.
How was a childhood in a small French village?
I mean, I enjoyed it. It's interesting, right? Like, I think you would have asked me as a younger person this question, I would have answered in one way. But now I had time to reflect on it.
Correct.
So I have a different perspective on that, right? But I think if I bring myself back to like little Jeremie, it was very fun. I mean, small town, that means that you know everyone, you go to school from like 2 or 3 years old to like 14 years old with the same people. So you have friends for like a long time. Again, you know everyone, you can go anywhere in the village because it's just small. I had a good access to nature, a lot of like mountains and hiking trail and cycling trail, stuff like that all around. So a lot of like freedom, like, yeah, I could do anything that I wanted. I was very free to go whatever I want because it's safe, right? Everyone knows each other, so you don't have to worry about things happening when in this kind of environment. So that was quite fun. Now, if I put myself in my shoes today and with more perspective, the answer is a little bit different in a sense that I grew up also in a place with what I would call like a small town village mindset, kind of a little bit narrow-minded and close to the world and not very open to the world. I grew up in a place with a lot of racism, with a lot of homophobia. It's not something that I realized back in the day, but now I'm aware of it. 2014 apartment, 2015 we got married, 2016 honeymoon, and just after the honeymoon we started discussing. Well, we didn't start discussing, but we started trying to have a family. Her dream was to be a mom. That was her goal in life. In terms of like career, whatever, doesn't care. Her goal was to be a mom. So as soon as we met and as soon as we got serious, it was all right. When are we starting having a kid? And I was, I'm not ready. Like, this is whoa, like, calm down. But yeah, eventually I felt ready, whatever that means. I don't think you're ever ready for it, but I felt like, yeah, I was okay. I've got my shit together now, so let's try it. Yeah, so we started trying in summer 2016, basically, and we got pregnant very quickly, and also very quickly after finding out that we were pregnant, she had a miscarriage. Like 5 weeks, so yeah, very early on. And
still hard for her as a mom. Absolutely.
Very hard for her, more than for me, to be honest. I didn't understand what he meant. I think we started again very quickly, like a month after, pretty much. because that was at the end of August, like on the last few days of August. And we decided to try again. And I think we found out that she was pregnant again around middle of November. So a couple of months after that. So this time, very different reaction. Like the first time we were like happy, like, oh my God, we're going to be parents and everything. And so this time it's okay, we're just pregnant. But we know miscarriage happened. So we're going to wait for like the 12 weeks to be excited, right? So for the first 12 weeks, it's like kind of like pretending nothing happening, right? She start to have symptoms and stuff like that, but it's like, let's just try to ignore it and not get too excited. At least if anything happened, we don't get heartbreak and stuff like that. In January, 3 months with the scan, everything is good. So now we can let it out. We told our parents, we told everyone, and we start to make plans, we found out it was a boy. So, looking for names, starting to buy stuff. What are we going to do for the apartment? Because it's a small place, blah, 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 blah. And everything was fine until April, at 6 months, roughly. We went for the scan where, they do like all the precise measurement and check like all the size of the bones and if the heart is developing properly and all that, like the very long scan that takes quite a while. So we went for this one, thinking that everything will be fine, right? like every parents do. And the nurse, the doctor, whatever she was, did her thing. And during the whole scan, she was very like serious and quiet. And she told us at the beginning, like, I'm going to be focused. I'm not going to be talking to you much. So, okay, good. And then she sat down at the office, at the desk, and we could see on her face that something was not right. And she told us, okay, I'm getting numbers here that are not normal. So I'm gonna have to send you to do some more in-depth testing and scans and all that. I'm seeing some issues with like the size of the bones and the heart and stuff like that. So she sent us to a cardiologist. She sent us to a specific department at a hospital to have more tests and stuff like that. So we came back home like devastated, not knowing what was going to happen and what was going on, but also being terrified and understanding that there was something wrong, but without fully understanding what. And we ended up doing, I don't know how many doctor appointment within like 72 hours. Like the day after we went to see someone, then someone else. And very quickly, they basically gave us a diagnostic that our baby had this very rare condition. They were suspecting that it was a genetic disorder. At first, it was just suspect because obviously they had to do genetic testing, but they were like, we are highly confident that there is this genetic disorder, which is affecting the growth of the baby, but also, most importantly, it's affecting his heart, it's affecting his lungs because his rib cage is not developing. And basically they gave us a whole bunch of information. They told us that the chance of survival at birth would be very minimal. And if he survived birth, he would have to go through heart surgery as soon as he was born. And he would have to have many, many surgery for the first 2 years of his life to fix a long list of things that was not fine, basically. But they basically told us that the chance of having a baby that would live would be close to non-existent. So grateful that it's happened in France, and we were given the option if we wanted to terminate the pregnancy, if we wanted to. So it was obviously up to us. So that we obviously took time, and we looked at the situation and all the information that we had, and we decided that it was the best thing, if I can say, for us and for him to end the pregnancy, because there was just too much on the plate to not do that. So yeah, that's a decision that we took. It is what it is. I don't expect people to understand or whatever, but like, we thought it was the right thing. Yeah. So that was for me, like, this decision of like signing the paper was the hardest decision that I ever had to take in my life, and I think it will be forever. And yeah, that was. I didn't know back then, but that was the beginning of obviously a very dark period, but also it was the beginning of a huge transformation that would occur following this tragic event.
What was the biggest fear when you quit your job?
The biggest fear was that I would fail building something, and I would run out of money, and I would have to tell my parents and everyone that I failed, and I would be like a loser and stuff like that. That was the biggest fear.
How did you overcome that?
I read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And in his book, there is an exercise in, I think, the first chapter called the fear setting exercise. He's got a very popular TED talk about it. And in this exercise, he's telling you, write down your fear, your biggest fear. So basically, what is the worst thing that can happen if that happens? Okay, I quit my job, I travel the world, and I try to build my own business. I lose everything. I can't make my business. I lose all my money. I lose all my saving. What is the worst case scenario? Well, I'm completely broke. I have nothing left. The worst case scenario would be I'll have to go back to my parents and live with them, or Rosie's parents, whoever wants us, maybe both. And the worst case scenario would be I have to go back there. I have to get a job at, I don't know, McDonald's for 6 months to get some money while I apply for like a better job, because obviously I still have my CV, I still have my experience anyway, like that. No one can take that away from me. And then eventually, yeah, hopefully find a job and go back to normal life. So ultimately, the worst case scenario was just going back to what I was doing just before. On the other side, the exercise also tells you what is the best case scenario. What can happen if everything goes well? Well, if everything goes well, I get to see the world and travel the world and build incredible memories, and I get to build my own business and make money out of it. And even without being rich, but just making a decent living, and I don't have to work for someone else again. I can have all the freedom that I want and do something that I enjoy doing. So like, the upside is that, and the downside, worst case scenario, is just you'll go back to where you were before. And that was liberating, because suddenly I realized, well, the worst case scenario is not that bad, right? Okay, my pride and my ego is going to be a little bit hurt. I'll get over it. It's fine. I'll survive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was like, this I've got nothing to lose here. Like, this only, yeah, that was liberating. That was like, fuck it all. I'm doing it.
Can I ask you, what was your buffer found, not in money, but in months of surviving, that you had when you quit your job?
We were very organized. We basically, 1 year before leaving, I told my boss, I'm going to leave in 1 year. And we planned and we saved money for 1 year. We were not reckless, right? You can take risks without being stupid. South America or Asia, our money could last anywhere between 1.5 and 2 years, because life is cheap over there, right? Right. And we managed to save something like 20K. So we could live for a while over there. Something that happened, though, that was not expected, is that just when we left Miami, some family drama happened on my side of the family, and we had to support other family member, and we had to give away 13,000 euro out of this. We lost like 60% of our travel stash that we built. Towards the end of the year, in November, after 6 months of very just dark challenging, depression, everything. After 6 months, my wife, Rosie, said, I need to get out of here. I cannot be in this apartment anymore. I have too many memories, too many things that are just killing me right now. So I need to move. So the question was like, we either go to Miami if it's an option with work, or fuck everything and we don't know what we do, but we're moving. We're going somewhere. We listed our apartment for rent. We listed everything we had on Facebook Marketplace to get rid of as many things as we could. And a month later, we were in a plane to Miami. We made it happen in like a few weeks.
You went to Miami, you got out of the European mold, you got out of everything what was happening here, you changed the environment. What inner shift started to happen in you both guys while you were in Miami?
So at first it was, just the joy and excitement to be somewhere new, somewhere very different, somewhere beautiful with palm trees and, the ocean. And so I think,
I got this from Florida.
Yeah.
I just want to say.
So I think, at first it was like sort of like escaping what happened. Like at the beginning, we're not going to try to deal with it. We just kind of ignoring
Run away.
Yeah, just to like feel alive again and feel normal again. So like the first, maybe 6 months, was just that, like, oh, let's go visit this and that and go to the beach and just be happy again and smile again after being depressed for 6 months and seeing darkness, everywhere. And then eventually, when we realized that we like Miami, that we're going to be spending a bit of time there, a few years and stuff like that, then it was about, okay, like we're going to have to make friends and build a community and find people and do things. We can't just be tourists for years. So we started to like go to meetups, meetup event, go to community yoga classes, go to parties, go to everything that we could see on like Eventbrite and Meetup and all that. We were like doing things just to meet people, connect with people, and live again and have a sense of normal life and stuff like that. And we were very lucky to meet the people that we needed at this time, I think. And what I mean by that is that we met a community of people that was very healing, very connected to emotions, very into spirituality. We started doing like yoga classes and meditations and sun baths and cacao ceremony and different modalities of meditations, different modalities to like connect with other human being, to move the body, to express your emotion in different ways and stuff like that. And we didn't do that knowing that it would heal us. But what we realized by just going to this event and hanging out with people vulnerable to talk about what they were feeling, that was like unloading. Every time we were like unloading a layer, peeling a layer of whatever darkness or pain that we had. And I think we eventually realized that we're feeling better. Like, life doesn't feel so heavy anymore. We all have someone in our life that is probably a little bit older, that now regrets not living a different life. Like my dad retired in 2019. So for 40 years, he hated his job. He lived a life that honestly he didn't enjoy, with the goal of retiring one day and finally being able to like, now I've got it. And when it was time, 2 years later, something happened and he wasn't able to do that. My wife's dad, Rosie's dad, worked his entire life like a crazy person, made a lot of money, great, got to travel, stuff like that. But obsessed with working, like working on Christmas Day, stuff like that. Like he loved what he was doing, but also like
Doesn't matter.
to
Doesn't
a
matter.
point. And when he turned 63, he had a health issue, like a stroke. And since then, he's been forced to retire because he's now disabled. And he's never been able to enjoy his retirement. He always dreamed to go to India. He's never going to go. And he worked his entire life to have a good retirement, save money, all that. And he was forced to retire because of his health. And now I think we can all have something similar around us. Like we all know this person that is not getting what they expected because they had a health issue, because they had a money issue, because they had a, I don't know, a divorce, a separation, a death, whatever it is. And I think if you ask old people, like 70 plus, I would say, they usually tend to say, enjoy your life. They don't tell you should work more.
There is no one that on his deathbed said, I didn't work enough.
No.
No. Yeah.
So, listen to that. There's a reason to say that. I even challenge you to do this exercise, but sit down, grab a pen and a paper, and really like be honest with yourself. It's like, if I tell you that you're going to die tomorrow, are you going to be happy of the life that you lived so far? Or would you have regret that you have not done things differently? And if you think that, and if you would have done things differently, what would you have done? And now, I'm going to tell you, okay, you're not going to die tomorrow, so start living it now. This life that you just wrote down on a piece of paper.